Brad Allen, and today I want to talk about not just surviving your first 90 days in real estate, but like thriving in it, right? Getting out of real estate school, passing that exam, passing the state licensure, all that stuff, it's exciting. But really it's where the work really starts. So I want to talk to you about some things that I'd recommend, just like if you're one of the agents working with us, to how to thrive in your first 90 days. First, let's be honest, you didn't learn that much in real estate school. Probably learned enough to pass the test, right? We all do that. But did you really learn how to budget and time block and start a sphere and do all these things? Probably not. A lot of times that falls to the company to hopefully train you. Some companies offer more training than others, so it really is kind of a mixed bag. Here's the things I would recommend. One, real estate's a sprint. Nope, sorry, it's a marathon, not a sprint, right? But a lot of times we want to sprint. We want to just get out there, get our first deal and get going. And I agree. Everybody wants you to. The company wants you to, your broker wants you to, your finances want you to. As you're doing this though, don't forget the most basic step, and that's the basics. You need to be able to recite your papers, your contracts, your disclosures, forwards and backwards. You should be able to tell those things in a fluid, easy manner that would make people feel comfortable and that you knew what you were doing. So here's what I recommend. First, go through your company's training. Hopefully that helps you a good bit. Take your disclosures, take your buyer agencies if you have it, and go home and you should read those things 2 to 3 times a day. If you live alone, you don't have a roommate or anything, you need to practice in the mirror. Maybe you need to record yourself. If you live with somebody, use them. And it has worked really well for a lot of our agents where they go home and they just practice it every single night with their significant other, with their roommate, until that person's like, dude, that was good. That was fluid. It seemed like you know what you were doing. And that's what's going to give you the confidence. If you don't have the confidence and the knowledge of the documents, then oftentimes that doesn't give you the confidence to go talk to your friends, family, and sphere about buying and selling because you feel like you're a fraud. Another part is you need to make sure you understand most areas of your selling area. So there's, even if you're from the town that you're selling in, there are probably parts of it that you've never been through, or maybe there's parts of it that you don't know that well because it's just not been in your everyday life for the last couple of years. Take time, pull some vacant listings and go preview them. Make that part of your everyday process, because this will give you the knowledge when buyers come to you and say, hey, I want to live here. You're like, oh yeah, I've been there. That's a super great town. The other part is learn your statistics in your market. Know what's going on. What's the average price point? Are things going up? Are they going down? What are the days on market? These are things that will help you seem knowledgeable and intelligent when you're having these conversations at cocktail parties, wherever you might be. The last point about getting started, the key basics, is starting your CRM. Nope, a spreadsheet does not work. What it needs to be is a program that is there to help you keep in touch, remind you, and keep knowledge about your friends, family, clients, whatever. If you do this from the beginning, as you grow in your business, so will your database. If you skip this step and your business grows, and then you try and go back, it's a whole lot harder and it doesn't work real well. So learn this from the beginning, make a habit. Once you get the basics down there, the next thing I'm gonna recommend that you do is build a routine. You probably came from an industry or a place that was very structured. The times were set, people told you what to do, where to go, and how to get there. Well, that's part of being an employee, right? Now you're not. You're a wild and free child that can do whatever you want. But oftentimes that pendulum swings way too far and we let our routine ruin our business. So what I would recommend you doing is get your basics down and then get your basic time blocks down. You need to figure out the things that were going to bring you the most business, and you need to focus on those, like prospecting. If you're not prospecting every single day in your first 90 days, what are you doing? At the same time, when it comes to time blocking and making time for things, you also need to make sure that you've got some flexibility. You don't want to time block so religiously that you can't make room for a buyer that comes into town unannounced. So I like to use these blocks of time kind of as floating time blocks. If I need to prospect in the morning and all of a sudden I've got something that's valuable to do there, I'm going to push it a couple hours to the afternoon. Doesn't mean I don't do it. Doesn't mean I'm not going to do it that day. It just means, hey, I can't do it this morning, so I'm going to have to do it this evening. If you can get in that habit, it's going to be really, really helpful. After you've got your daily routine blocked out, now you need to focus on your sphere of influence and not only building it, and we have a whole series on this, so you can go back and watch that playlist, but you need to spend time of intentionally building it after you get your sphere of influence started. Because once you get that thing working, then it's going to start working for you. And once your sphere is working for you and you found business, now you got to figure out what to do with your money. And I'm not saying you're gonna have so much money you're just gonna be like throwing it around and laying in it like a bed, right? But you do need to understand what you're gonna do with it, where it needs to go, how much do you need to survive, those kinds of things, which I happen to have done a video recently about that too, where I talk about how to plan for your money, what to put aside, how to put it to good use, and how to save it. So go back and watch that video as well. Managing your finances, if you can get a good grasp on that, so that way when you start making money, you know where it's gonna go ahead of time, will put you light years ahead of most real estate agents out there that have no clue on how it's gonna work. One other thing I think you should really do in your first 90 days is you need to identify maybe a mentor or an accountability partner or group. So a lot of companies, they're great, they're gonna bring you on, they may train you, they may not, but you may not have the mentorship you were looking for. I find that that's one of the things that's overpromised and underdelivered all the time in real estate. And that's one of the things you need most. Now, accountability can sound like a four-letter word, I get it, but we all need it because we need to be held accountable to the things that are important to us in our business. And if we don't have that, oftentimes we can put that to the side and just totally forget about it. And then we're not achieving what we want to achieve. So hopefully your broker is going to be a good mentor for you. Hopefully they may pair you up with an agent in your office that could give you some insights. But what I would recommend is have somebody outside the business. Maybe it's an older person that has been an entrepreneur for their whole life and they can share some guidance with you. Maybe it's a coach that you hire. There's never too early to hire a coach. I'm a huge advocate of coaches and therapists, and you can go ahead and hire one now because they're going to help you with the basics. And when you're paying for it, you often listen a little bit harder. And here's a little side note that I would recommend. Go through your sphere, identify people in your sphere that would be great mentors. Sit them down and be like, hey, as you know, I just got into the business and you're an entrepreneur and I'm an entrepreneur. So what recommendations would you have for me now knowing what you know? Y'all, people will fall over themselves to give you advice. And the coolest part is, not only they're gonna give you advice, but they might give you business. I've seen it time and time again where some older people that are more established people have taken our agents under their wing because they're like, yeah, here's what I would do. And actually, I've got some business I'll send you because they want you to succeed because you're asking them how to succeed. There's no greater gift than to help somebody succeed in their business. So use that to your advantage. One of the last things is try to avoid common mistakes, right? It's always like kind of comical, the circle that real estate agents go in. Sometimes people get so eager when they're finding business that they make some common mistakes that kind of shoot themselves in the foot, right? So when you're talking with people, don't overpromise, don't overanalyze, and don't speak out of your ass, right? Either you know it or you don't know it, and people are okay with that. And if you need to go find the answer, people are okay with that too. But be hungry, be humble, and be smart. If you seem like a know-it-all asshole, they're not gonna wanna work with you, so don't be bigger than you are. Also, be careful chasing leads. Yes, leads are important, business is important. But you know what's important too? Protecting your time. I do not believe I'm better than anybody else when it comes to selling houses. I will sell anything to anybody, anywhere. But also, I need to know that they're serious about it. It is not a badge of honor to show somebody 50 houses. If you're showing somebody 50 houses, that means you've messed up somewhere along the way setting expectations. And it seems counterproductive when you're starting a business, what I'm about to say. But yes, you need to grind. You need to work. You need to wake up every single day and figure out where your business is coming from. But at the same time, you also need to plan through time blocking to take some time off. Maybe you need to have a lazy morning every once in a while. Maybe you need to take a golf trip to get clear your head. Maybe you need to go on a hike. Those are okay. You need that. Mental health in real estate's tough, y'all. And what normally happens is people have a hard day, a bad day, they get stressed out, they drink, some of my vices, they maybe do other things that are not helpful to their business, their family lives, or anything like that. So make sure you're taking care of yourself too. This is a hard business. And you need to make sure that you're putting yourself first and making sure your family gets it in there too. So kind of to wrap this thing up, your first 90 days is gonna be tough, but it's gonna set the tone for your entire professional life. Seek knowledge, seek understanding, and then seek business. If you do it in that order, you will be prepared when that business actually comes to fruition. So you're gonna make mistakes, that's okay, guys. The way I always tell people is, at least you're failing forward. If I can help you anyway, shoot me a DM, or if you've got some ideas what people should do in their first 90 days, drop them in the comments below. It'd be really helpful, and I always love sharing information with newer agents, so reach out to me. I'd love to have a conversation.